Recently, one of the readers of the blog asked me to demonstrate how I actually use my latest jig that I've been working with on grinding my draw knives, so I figured I'd take a minute and show you how I do that. Besides successfully grinding your blade, of course, there's nothing more important than being safe while you do it. You should always keep your safety guards in place, which I've removed for clarity in this video, and make sure that you're following all the practices and guidelines that you know for good grinding. Here's the jig, and as you can see, it's got two pins, one set horizontally, one set vertically, and that's where the back of the draw knife is going to ride, right along those two hardened steel pins. Now, I put an adjuster so that this thing can go forward or back, and it's this micro adjustment that I think is a real nice advance for this tool, because it allows you to dial in exactly where on that bevel you're going to grind. It's very important that when you introduce the draw knife to the jig, that you do so with the blade away from the wheel initially, and then you put it right to the back of where those two pins meet, and then gently lean it forward until it makes contact with the wheel. You can even just give a gentle spin with the hand on the other wheel there, and that will start to tell you where it's probably going to be touching. Here, it looks like it was touching a little bit far to the back. Because the draw knife is going to be ground using this back surface as the bearing surface when you're grinding, it's very important that it be clean and nick-free. So what I like to do is I take a file and I come down and I smooth that surface, and then I actually go ahead and polish it, just like I would any tool that I'm going to be sharpening. That ensures that when I ride this portion on the back of the grinding jig, that this portion is going to have a nice even straight grind. Here you can see the position that I actually hold the tool in. What I like to do is I actually hold it at my fingertips here. I don't hold it by the handles. I hold it by my fingertips right beneath here. That support is going to give me real sensitivity to how it leans forward as I'm doing this operation. So what you'll see is I'm going to put it into the jig, and I'm going to just lean it forward with my hands underneath like this, because truthfully the force of the wheel is coming this way, which is resisted by our little slot that we've created here, our little meeting of the pins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly turn this on, and I'm going to ever so gently let it ride forward and do a very light cut there so I can see where it's touching. And it looks to me, if I look right here, that it's touching a little bit too far to the back. So that means I want it to go more forward so that it will actually be grinding in the middle. That's going to preserve the angle of grind that I've already got in this blade, which I found to be good for this piece of steel. So to do that, what I've got to do is I've got to actually bring it back a little so it can lean more forward. So to do that, simply enough, I'm going to come in here with my screwdriver, and I'm going to back it out a turn and a half, and I'm going to try it again. I think it could still use a little bit more, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to pull it back a little bit more here. Now I'll try again. We're getting there. Just needs a little bit more back, I believe. There it is. Now we're starting to grind just in the middle, right where we want it. Now I'm going to show you the body position and the movement as I actually do the grinding. And gently lay it down under the wheel and move it along one side to the other. Starting to get my grind, and you can see that I'm working on the corner of the wheel so I can avoid hitting this part of the grinder over here, the body where the motor is. Hopefully you can see here that I've got my grind done, and it turned out pretty good all the way down the line there. That's one of the great advantages of this method. It just comes out so even and so consistent that it makes honing a snap. But when you first start with a new blade, you might find that because the distance from this point to this point down the line is a little different, that it may end up grinding a little unevenly along your bevel there. So just take note, that'll only happen the first time, and then from everyone from then on, these two parts will be more parallel, and you'll be able to run right down the line without it being such a problem.